Stand-Up Historian. Those who tell stories rule society.
Hello and welcome to Standup Historian. Tonight we are going to discuss a very controversial topic, and that is the flat earth. Yes, you heard it correctly, the flat earth. And we know there's been a lot of movements, individuals or societies that they try to revive the idea of flat earth in recent years. One of the major ones, which is started by Mark Sargent, who lives not too far from me in Washington, attracted a lot of people, and it is said that there are millions of people that they still believe that earth is flat. But is it flat or not? What about all the scientific calculations, pictures, NASA information, and everything that we see from the space? Everything points towards a spherical Earth. Tonight I have Kaf with me, and he is going to share his idea about flat Earth, and he has some convincing facts that I leave the judgment to you whether you wanted to accept that Earth is flat or it's spherical. But before we start, I just want to read this very short paragraph for you from, it's from Wikipedia, and just to prepare everybody for conversation that we have ahead of us. The flat Earth model is an archaic and scientifically disproven conception of Earth's shape as a plane or disk. Many ancient cultures subscribed to a flat Earth cosmography, including Greece until the Classical period, the Bronze Age and the Iron Age civilizations of the Near East until the Hellenistic period, and China until the 17th century. And this was very important. Until the 17th century, Chinese, they believed that the Earth is flat. Okay, let's bring in Kaf without any further ado, and let's see what he has to tell us about flat Earth. Kaf, welcome, and please kick this episode off. Go ahead.
Hello, Courage. Thank you for time again for talk about this hot topic these days. It's been always important that we want to know, what shape is our home, the land we live on this planet. We explain, based on origami theory, that location is time. Remember, we explained that we have only gravity, which is non-material, is what we know as vacuum. And whatever else is materialized around us, including mass and location and time, all of them is only time. And when time progresses horizontally, let's put it that way to be easier to understand. When time goes forward, which is the numbers 1, 2, 3, goes forward, creates the passage of time, process of time. When it goes laterally in width, it creates the location for us. So basically, we explain that, and the book is there that you can send people to read more exactly, get to physics of it. There is no such a thing as location. It's all time and mass and all of that. It's just time. That's why we are a bit confused all the time about the shape of everything, not just the Earth. So we explain that everything is basically flat. In everything, go back to the origin of this. We said the whole world we live in is a one spotlight. A man holding a spotlight, a flashlight or a torch in his hand, and that's all time is. All the material world around us is just that dot of the flashlight in the darkness. And the darkness or actually the man holding it decides which way to go, is what we know as gravity or order. So the dot of light goes very, very fast. Calculated the rate of it is much, much faster than the speed of light. It goes very fast in different direction, creates pictures for us. True. So imagine you holding this torch in your hand and moving it so fast, you create, first when you go fast, you create a line, and then go faster, create a silhouette of a man, and create a planet and other planets. It goes so fast to the beginning and right to the end of the universe in Planck time and come back again. So that's how fast it is. So what we see, because we are our fastest speed is the speed of light. What we see the overlap. We see the whole thing is steady there. But we said if we got a camera that take photos as fast as Planck time, we will see the universe is flashing, going in and out of existence, right? And then because the light is on and off, and then it gets, if you take more faster pictures, you see that some part of it disappears and then becomes a line and becomes at the end a dot that is moving. If you got a super fast camera, we will see there's a man holding this torch in his hand, its flashlight, and moving it very fast around. That tells you that everything is actually one-dimensional. But to make it easier to understand, we said imagine the world is a piece of a paper, a flat paper that you folded in different shapes. That's why we call it origami model. So everything we see that is actually two-dimensional is flat. It's not really three-dimensional. In other words, nothing has depth, like when you, because it's illusion of time, correct? You can understand that, which means when you look at a simple example is this to understand it. When you look at the sky, you see millions of stars there at night. So as we know today, some stars we're seeing is millions of light years away, which means even 2 million years ago, if they have disappeared, we'll still see them.
Yes.
True. So and then you come down to Earth and to Sun and Moon and the stars and planets that are closer to us, and they are a few minutes away from us. So if a minute ago one of them disappeared, you wouldn't know. It would take some time for you to know. Yes. And then, so what can you say for certain? In certainty, what is really? So we are actually saying there is no thickness to air. What exists really is the one that is right at the same time next to you. So things become behind each other, not next to each other even. Imagine you got a spotlight that moves around, let's say from east to west. It actually does. It goes from right to left and it creates pictures. Imagine it goes up, create a picture of a man, and then goes create the other man next to it. By the same time, the time that it creates the next man, the first man has disappeared because it's just one spotlight. It's not two, right? So that's what it means. So why you see two men? Because you are very slow. The same reason you see the light in your room is constant and steady, but it's flashing 50 times per second. It's the same reason. So that this is very important for science, because science is dealing with the fact and the truth. We need to know this because it tells us that everything is flat. Everything is just one-dimensional, basically. So Earth is flat, people are flat, particles are flat, the sun, moon, the whole universe is flat. That's what it means, and that's why in ancient Egypt they were drawing all the pictures in a profile. You know, one of the questions they don't know in mythology is the Greeks and some other ancient nations, because they have knowledge, because they work with the textbook that is given to us, which we will get into that. The most important talk we're going to have is the mythology and the books of the Torah and Quran. These are the textbooks of us. These are telling us everything. When we talk about it, you'll be blown away. Because they work with these textbooks, not the theories that come every day from a different university. They knew everything, right? And they were always drawing man as a profile picture, because everything is two-dimensional. We just said to you, you know, this is it, and if you prove it in origami, and this is the reality of us: is one dot moving around. So one thing is after another thing. So that's why electromagnetic, you understand it then. Because today they say electrical field is perpendicular to magnetic field.
Yes.
So, and they have 3 dimension of space, added 1 dimension of time to it. They got this 4-dimensional space-time fabric, which has no sense, and nobody is able to comprehend it, because we only comprehend maximum 3 dimensions. And we will see in future we become 2 and finally 3-dimensional. We will get, not multiple dimension that they keep throwing at these words these days without anyone knowing or understanding, because we maximum comprehend 3 dimensions because this is maximum is into it. But right now our time is just 1 dimension. Anyway, so this is what it is. So Earth is a flat piece of paper, imagine, like with 4 corners. It's not even round. It's got 4 corners. That's what was from ancient times. Every culture talk about the 4 corners. Yeah. And we said also that at the center of every particle, and from photon or origami that creates every other particles, they all have a central black hole that creates the gravity. And we explained that when they become one object like Earth, then the central black holes fuse into each other, create one central black hole for that mass. That's how the mass is alive. So that's what we say Earth is alive, like me and you, and it's got a central black hole that has got a radius of 7.8 millimeter. This equation, you can measure that. And we will get to the measurement of black hole of man, which is so interesting. Will be actually 1 times 10 to the power of minus 25 meter. And so Earth has got a central black hole at the center. So that means that central black hole creates curve in it. So this piece of paper that is square shape, when we look at it, the same as when you look at each other, we see each other 3-dimensional and moving. We just said this is not a reality. This is not the truth. It's the reality, because reality is because of the speed of light. But it's not the truth. The truth is because the Earth has got a central black hole at the center, not a very hot core that they imagine. At the very center is a very tiny hole, vacuum, that creates the gravity. And that, when we look from above, all we see is a curved light. The ray of light will be curved, and that's why from outside we see Earth is round, and we see everything is round. The sun and moon, every other planet, and every object, every particle. And so that's the general idea about it, to explain it, but it's in the book in all the details. So that's the reality. So when you curve a square-shaped paper, imagine you stretch it over a ball, a basketball. Imagine you pull it by the force of gravity over that. At the bottom, which is the Antarctic, you will have a hole. You will have a gap, because it's not a round piece of paper. It's not circular. It's 4 corners, square shape. Because of that, at the end bottom of it, you will have a gap of, you can calculate, it will be 1,000 diameter, 1,000 meter diameter. That's the hole in Antarctic. So the reality, the truth is flat. As you walk on it, it's flat. If you hold a piece of glass, which is a flat piece of glass, like a plate, you put it under the water, you're sitting next to a swimming pool, and hold the piece of glass in your hand, you see it's 2-dimensional, it's flat. And then hold it under the water, it will be curved and 3-dimensional because of the water effect. Everything we experience in the world, everything we observe, our best observation is based on the speed of light. That's why everything we observe is incorrect. Everything they measure, if we will see in origami theory, that's the biggest thing we need to know is that we are under a dome of a mirror effect dome. All our solar system is under a dome that it's a concave mirror. So when you look into this, when we look at the sky, we are not seeing to infinity of the end of the world. We're seeing a lot of reflection actually. And what is that mirror, the dome mirror over us, is the time. It's time bouncing back the edge of the universe, which we will explain later. So that a lot of things that we see 3-dimensional is because of this effect. that we are under this dome, and this is exactly, they were picturing it in ancient times. They're always saying we are under this dome. The sky is a dome,
exactly.
and it rotates. This rotational dome has got mirror effect because time reached the end of the universe and turns back. That's exactly a mirror effect. So then we realize that what we see as sun is actually the reflection of sun into this mirror. And we get into that as it's a very deep thing, that we just realize that what really the location of sun and moon and earth are next to each other, and what is really sun and moon is far from what they're telling people. And we get repeatedly look into the flat earth people, which is more than 6 million people now. They have done some experiments, which is amazing. They found some clues that the earth must be flat. And also when they are asked about the pictures and videos published by NASA from low orbit, that they see the earth is round and is rotating, some of the flat earth followers, they say these pictures must be fabricated.
Yeah, that's what they say.
No, well, it's hard to believe that it's fabricated. There are true pictures. And then the exact reason we just explained. When you go out of Earth, as soon as you get out of the powerful gravitational field of Earth, around 1,000 kilometers, so the range of gravity is to the end of universe. We know that, but this is an escape velocity issue. Like when you reach to the border of atmosphere, around 1,000 kilometers, you're technically out of Earth gravitational field. And that's why atmosphere stops. That's why you don't have atmosphere after that, because it cannot hold air anymore. Once you get there, that's called low orbit. You join the gravitational field of the rest of what is there, which we call universe. Correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Imagine Earth is there. The rest of the thing is universe except Earth. Once you get 1,000 kilometers away from Earth, you reach the border of Earth gravitational field and the universe gravitational field. Very simple, correct?
Yeah.
Whatever is, let's say 1 billion other stars and everything, whatever is there, all together create a gravitational field which will be much bigger than Earth, because Earth is just one planet. There are trillions of them. So this 1,000 kilometers is territory of Earth. Once you get out of it to that border, you join the territory of gravitational field of the universe, and you start rotating with the universe around Earth. That's when once they lose their weight, they feel a bit light in the spaceship, they get floating, the gravity drops.
Yeah.
And that when you look, then you will see the Earth is rotating because you're rotating.
So flat Earth and fixed, not rotating, revolving Earth, are they requirements for each other?
So yeah, this is important. Yeah, we need to know the reality, regardless of what is there. It's square shape, flat, not rotating. There is rotation in the rest of universe, which is in dome shape on the top of Earth, rotating around Earth.
So in fact, we're looking at a distorted picture. When we go to space and look at Earth, we're looking at a picture that is distorted because of the dome that is over the whole universe.
Yeah, so you might say, okay, you're imagining this, and you see that in ancient mythology all the time. No, we calculate that. We go to the book. You have to read from beginning. I'm sorry, this is pure physics, really. It's that's what it is. There is no difference between, that's how they attack the truth. They said there is all this mythology and ancient religion is garbage and is baseless and imaginations, and then we got science based on experiment. Experiments based on two things. First is speed of light, which is very slow compared to the speed of time. And also is very, very related and dependent on the person who does it and theorize the results. That's why the science today is theory after theory after theory, canceling the previous theory. So there's no real truth there. So you will calculate this dome effect. What is this dome? Why it's got the mirror effect? And all of that you will see. So one good experiment, if you do, there on YouTube, you find experiment with a mirror ball or concave mirror. Put a concave mirror and put your hand under it and look into it, like, you know, upside down, like a dome, mirror dome above your hand. Put it above your hand and then look from underneath. There are experiments, just look at that, because it's very difficult to imagine it. Sure. And picture it in your head. When you look at it, you'll be absolutely amazed. You hold something two-dimensional and becomes three-dimensional and comes out of the mirror towards you. This exactly gives you what we're seeing now. We just said the flashlight moving very fast creates two-dimensional and then three-dimensional pictures. This is the same thing. In a mirror effect gives you that image exactly. Why a two-dimensional thing, we see it as three-dimensional. Why, when we said you hold a piece of glass in the water and you see is three-dimensional, it's become thick and distorted, is because of the reflection and refraction of the light. That's the same thing. In other words, yes, it's the tricks of light. We know light bends, reflects, right? Light, yeah, is very fast, but it's very, very unreliable because it reflects from any surface. A small mirror, a thickness of 1 millimeter, reflects it, refracted, and rarefacted, like, you know, all different angles. It creates all different pictures for you. You put two mirrors, one in front of you, one behind, you get infinite number of pictures. That's one reason we see so many stars in the sky. There is not that many. It's not that big as they think. And all the information come from university and NASA and all these observations, they will simply come from light and information that comes from light. If you are under this, they imagining and they're supposing the Earth, the atmosphere is empty and the light they're getting is coming from end of universe. That's why the whole thing could be completely wrong if the lights we're receiving are reflected from somewhere else or distorted, which is right now when we see there is this black hole right under Earth, not a big black hole, and we said that black holes don't swallow anything, nothing goes into the black hole. We explained that before. It just creates all the force in the universe. And so the black hole under Earth creates this bent curvature of light, and we see the Earth as round. But why we see it as rotating? Because once you get 1,000 kilometers away from Earth, you join the territory of gravitational field of universe, of the sky above us. And then you rotate, you start rotating around Earth, because the entire universe is rotating around Earth. So let's put it this way, very simple. We see the pictures from sky, space. We see pictures, the Earth is rotating. Any physicist would accept this statement that it's the only other scenario that we see the Earth is rotating, but it's not really rotating. The only possible other scenario is that Earth is stationary, but the entire universe is rotating around it. Not just sun or moon or anything, no, entire universe, because wherever you go into space, you see Earth is rotating. So the only possible scenario any physicist would accept this would be that entire world rotating around Earth, and Earth is stationary. Yes, in that case also, yes. If you get out of Earth, because you join to the gravitational field of the cosmos, you will start rotating around Earth, and it will be very hard to say is Earth. Is exactly when you are in a station, in a train, and train starts moving, and sometimes you think the station is going backward. You're not the train going forward. Yes. So this is the relativity of the speed. So you might say, oh, this is your philosophy. You think the entire universe is rotating around. But no. This is very, very important. Because if Earth is rotating, it will have kinetic energy. If it's not rotating, it wouldn't have that energy. It's very, very different. If Earth is rotating, it would not have life on it. If Earth is rotating, it will be constant storm, the most horrendous storms we can imagine on the surface of the Earth. We don't have any of those. Earth is nice and quiet and peaceful. So how could entire world be rotating around Earth? Is that possible? And again, go to the book. You're represented with 5 big facts and physical facts and observations that we have today that shows the Earth is right at the center of the universe. And that's mind-blowing. Then we find that they were absolutely correct in ancient times.
So now what you just said, begs several questions. I'm sure people listening or watching this also have their own questions, but this is what comes to my mind. If the whole universe is rotating around the Earth, you put a very special importance, emphasis on Earth. It seems
Absolutely.
like the whole universe is created for Earth to turn, right? What other explanation we have? Why the entire existence is rotating around the Earth? So in fact, from the realms of science, you get into realms of theology, religion, and other things. So, and the other thing that comes up is, so if everything is rotating around the Earth, Earth is the most, it must be the most important uh, body in the heavens. Does this mean that there are no other important planets with people living on there? And what are the ramifications of this idea that you just shared?
Yeah, exactly. Well, why we are scared of that these days? We knew from beginning. We see science more and more today. We see people, rich and famous people, come out and telling, because they have money, they have the, all the stage to talk and others to listen. You don't hear so many amazing scientists saying constantly this and showing proof for it, but you can't find them because you don't get this stage. That's the concept of money we talked about last time. That's the money that is creating love and science and truth. That's exactly why, because a flat earth and all these energy things not good for business, not for good for it's perfect for humanity, but not good for business of these people. The whole thing is very clear. Earth has been always said it's a very special place. We see people coming these days saying there are billions, and the number goes up every day. Oh, they found trillions. There is now this James Webb telescope. They don't even know what it is. People and just get so excited and go and say it's found this and that, and then found a massive black hole behind us. And then nobody asks, how come with all your super advanced technology you didn't find this black hole behind you already? So all your observations are very unreliable because you keep getting surprised. Science today keeps getting every day surprised instead of getting confirmation every day from observation on the planet or outside the planet. They keep getting surprised. That tells you their ideas are very wrong. And the ideas in ancient times are very correct. We know based on the science today, even if you get out of Earth, you wouldn't last a fraction of a second. You get atomized. There is cosmic ray outside. There's called gamma rays, and there is temperature of 4 Kelvin, which is minus 270 degree.
Celsius.
You won't last a second. There's radiation, and they say space is very hostile. You hear that word all the time.
Yeah.
Very hostile. Plus atmosphere. There's no pressure. You explode, you get turned into atoms. Not atoms. You become photons. You become radiation. And then suddenly, everywhere else in this universe, and then suddenly you come down to Earth. You enter atmosphere. You got heaven. You got oxygen. You got life. You steady, quiet, nice, peaceful, steady, not moving, nothing. This is absolute masterpiece of science work, and they say there are billions of it. Yeah, we found. Where is it? Show one to us. Find one. The closest one they find today is Mars, and they're trying hard to say there must have been water on Mars at some stage. Okay, there's been water, but they're trying to colonize it. It's ridiculous. Instead of fixing the planet, they want to go spend trillions of dollars. Nothing these people say. It's just childish and stupid, really. We got this beautiful. Is it at this for Earth to be there and the entire universe rotate around it? If you prove that, then it makes sense that the entire universe is rotating and Earth is stationary, right? So the physical reason to prove that is to prove that Earth is at the center, because you got a big massive ball that is rotating, spinning around its axis, vertical axis. Then it's obvious that every part of this massive ball, every particle in it is rotating. the particles at the surface, at the periphery of universe, this ball, will be rotating faster. But as you come towards the center, rotation is slower and slower. The one that is right at the center of the ball is not basically rotating. That's the Earth.
Sure.
To see that, again, you go through the book, you find all the evidence there, physical, observational evidence. Very, very simple. Universe is, even based on the Big Bang, is exactly shaped a witch hat, like a wizard's hat for you, like a cone. It starts from one point and it spreads out. So when you look longitudinally, it's like a triangle, like a cone shape, right? That you're looking for. So it's not like a cylinder. It's at the beginning, it starts from one point, Big Bang, and gets bigger as it comes down to the present time. So looking, if you stand outside, look at universe, you see like a cone, like a wizard's hat sitting on the ground, right? And from the top to bottom of it, which is the length of time, age of universe, is 13.79 billion years. Okay. And because it's very simple geometry, you can calculate this. The middle point of it would be 4.6 billion years time-wise. That's the age of Earth.
Oh.
Earth is 4.6 billion years. That sits at the middle of this, let's say 14, make it round to 14. You got 14-meter long thing. If it's a cone shape with the angle, you will find that right at the middle of this cone will be a point that is 4.6 from beginning and to the end. So that's the age of Earth. And you will see in origami time is location. Again, you will see that. That means universe is not a cone, it's just a spot. But from beginning to end, beginning it is not there anymore. But if you imagine it's still there, what you see, you will see a cone. Yeah. The beginning is the apex of the cone, and the now is the base of the cone. So if something is in the middle of it, will be time-wise in the middle of it, and location-wise.
Also.
So the Earth must be appeared right at the middle of this age, which would be 4.6. The age of Earth tells you exactly the best proof that Earth is right at the middle of the universe. In simple language, everything created, and Earth put Earth at the middle of it. That's why age of the Earth matches its location, right at the center of the universe, and everything else is. You think about it, you will comprehend that better. That's when the time is location that we talk at the beginning. You said, remember we talked about that. All this location that we're talking about, the movement is actually time relative to each other. So the age of Earth as the biggest thing. The other thing, they've done many very expensive experiments on something called cosmic microwave background. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's this CMB, cosmic microwave background. It's that they say this is the signature of the Earth from Big Bang. This is amazing. Yeah, it's all there. It's all true. And they've done multiple every 20 years. They spend billions of dollars and do another one and another one, and they argue with each other. The most recent one they've done is amazing. And the parts that some people don't see in it, yeah, they see in it. They say, yeah, it shows there's Big Bang, all that, which will explain why Big Bang is not fast, but we think it's fast, because it's the past and the speed of light was slow. So we receive it as very, very fast, but it's not fast. Everything is normal speed. But anyway, if you have to get the whole copy of this report to see there are 4 problems in it, or 3, that really amazing. In all of these CMB reports that they have done. CMB reports are very expensive because they have to send telescopes and the spaceships outside, scan the old parts of the universe and put the pictures together, all of those, to get this picture effects of microwave effect on the universe. And they found, yes, it's uniform, the space is uniform and all that. But there are 3 things in it that they couldn't explain, which in general, very simple, explains that it looks like universe is divided in 2 halves. This is the part we need to read. People that are reading into this, please read this part. In this this map that they create after years of scanning the sky, they find something very interesting. Find that number one, the entire universe becomes, it's uniform, but you can divide it in half, and the halves are exactly half. Like you can run, you see a line between upper half and lower half of the universe. And why you see this line? Because upper half and lower half have different energy. Let's say upper half has got more, a bit hotter than lower. And so they don't understand why, right? And the other thing is, this line is so interesting that goes through the plate, exactly matches the plate of the solar system, our solar system.
That's another reason that Earth is in the middle.
Not imagine, goes through Earth.
Yeah.
That's mine, and you don't hear that one talk much, which is the highlight of this. Go read this. This is not what I'm saying. It's amazing they found this, but they don't talk about this much. This should be the first biggest news ever, because what you see all the time, they draw a picture of Milky Way galaxy, and they show Earth as one dot in a corner of one of the arms of this big disk.
Yeah, farthest corner, in fact. Yeah.
Far from anywhere. And then you see other millions of other galaxies around. So you think, whoa, we are nothing. There are trillions of Earth and so many civilizations that we are nothing. The same people found that entire universe is like a circle, upper, lower. Lower is colder. That's the past. That's what origami tells you. Devil's constant, remember that we said 6.6 times 10 to the power of minus 11. That's the rate of the light is diluting. So lower part is cooler than upper part, which is future. So we go towards warmer, more energy, and then the center is Earth. Go to the CMB document, the latest one. I think it was, I forgot the name of the latest. You will see that. That tells you the Earth is at the center. That's it. That's enough. If you follow NASA, you will find that Earth is at the center. And they are a bit baffled by this. You don't know, whoa, this goes wrong. And they call it anomalies. They find there are 3 things we cannot explain. This is not anomaly. This is best news for humanity. We are at the center of the universe. This is not anomaly.
So why do you think they don't admit this? Is it the scientific community has dogmas and they cannot go against the dogma? Is it it sounds like a religion more than science. So what's the problem if they figure this out and say, you know what, yep, it's in the middle? What is the problem then?
Well, so imagine there is a big guy like with horns sitting there as a devil and tell everyone what to do. It's a bit unrealistic. What happens maybe is this. We all went to university, you got there, some students noticed that and say, wow, Earth is at the center and this and that, and elaborate much more than me and you over it, are very experienced, very intelligent people, and they even do papers. There must be papers about this, but doesn't go anywhere at the end, because all these systems, universities are private companies. Everything, we talked about this last time about money. Yep. That's how money becomes an individual. We don't have one individual sitting there telling all this, and money does this. If these things go out, then it's like a domino. Modern science has to come out and give a huge apology to religion and mythology and ancient people. Huge apology. And call today not enlightenment today. Today is dark ages. And then imagine the consequences of that. It will be chaos, and people will come out and say, so every piece of information in ancient time was correct and everything you say is incorrect, and this is right, this is the truth, but they lose the market. Medications, everything they give people is wrong, everything. Everything they say about that is not matches the ancient times, it's all in your subconscious. We said this is origami model, it's our archaic model, doesn't belong to any certain individual. It's in us. We all say Earth is beautiful, is in the center. You put a child there to walk on it, and the child will tell you it's not moving, it's steady. If Earth is moving, no egg will hatch on it. When the chicken sit on the egg for to hatch. If you move the egg from under the chicken, she won't sit on it back again, and it will become loose, and the embryo doesn't develop in it if you just move it a bit. Everyone knows that. The light is so sensitive, and we all say four corner of earth. We still use those words. These are in our subconscious. We know we come above all the above dome of the skies around us, rotating, and it's like a dome. It's got boundaries, so it acts like a mirror. We will say next time that sun is not facing us. Sun is facing the dome, facing the mirror outside. Picture of the sun in the dome, in the mirror, reflects. When you look at sun, you're looking at the reflection of sun in the mirror. That's why the rays of light are parallel. We will get into that later. In optic light, in high school, they teach you any light that we work in on Earth that come from the sky is parallel.
Yeah.
Every optic physicist knows that. And any light that comes from any source in infinity will be parallel. Because if it's not infinity, it wouldn't be parallel, right?
Sure.
If rays of light come from sun, and sun is 45 seconds away from us, sun is not very far at all. Rays coming from sun would be converging or diverging. They won't be parallel because the distance of sun from Earth is very small. But we know in optic science they are parallel. And they tell us at the school, if you remember, they say because they come from very far, we consider them parallel, and they do the most accurate optic physics calculation on it with some parallel, and it works because they're very parallel. Why? Because parallel. If you go back to the concave mirror, when you put a light source at the focus center of this concave mirror, the light hits the surface of the mirror and come back absolutely parallel. Because the sun is there, back of the sun, we will get into that. Back of the sun is dark, which we are seeing, and we call it something else. The face of the sun, remember it says one of my eyes are blind, one eye sees things. That is talking about the sun. It's got one side dark, one side is bright. The bright side is facing not Earth, facing the sky, which is a mirror. And the light goes to the boundary, comes back to us parallel. Physical evidence of it. You don't need to go too far. This is very, very clear. You have to talk to these people with physics and mathematics, otherwise you won't win. If you're going to say, the Bible says that, and you're not going to win. But when you give them this physical, so go to the book, all the physical facts of it are all there. So the Earth is Earth is flat, sun is flat, and moon is flat. We are under this mirror thing. The entire universe is rotating around us. That's why once we go out, we think Earth is rotating, because the entire universe is rotating. And for entire universe to rotate around Earth, Earth needs to be at the center, and we just say it is at the center. Many other reasons there too. The other thing, if Earth was moving, rotating, no life would develop on it. At the moment, they say is spinning around itself 1,000 miles per hour, and it goes counterclockwise. Right? That's by itself is wrong. You cannot go counterclockwise. You go clockwise because time goes to west. So they say Earth goes west to east. That's am I right? Yeah. But we know that sun goes east to west. That's what they were saying until Copernicus came 500 years ago. Yeah. So we're always geocentric.
From the vantage point of Earth, we see sun rises on the east. Yes. And then we say Yes, today they say no, sun is not moving. Earth is rotating counterclockwise, west to east. But no, Earth is not moving, is steady, and the sky, the sun goes all around us, go around east to west. That's the direction of time. And then, based on there is a test they did, Foucault pendulum. Foucault pendulum is famous 1850. In 150 years ago, some, I think, French scientists used the pendulum, and you read about that. It's very silly. The same thing. These tests all I remember that.
Things that we tell you doesn't prove anything. The other thing they refer usually to is Coriolis effect. Coriolis effect is very simple. Basically says, because Earth is rotating around its axis, because Earth is spinning, then we get atmospheric current, just winds in North Hemisphere going from left to right. So it's because it's rotating. And in South Hemisphere, the right to left. And then if you then again, Coriolis effect, you read about it, get a picture of what they're talking about. Coriolis effect actually tells you exactly the thing that we're talking about. The universe is rotating. Look, it's very simple. If Earth is rotating and the sky and universe around it is there, steady, imagine you rotating, and what's around Earth is atmosphere. And it's not small, it's big atmosphere, it's 1,000 kilometers, even more, right? So imagine you're spinning a ball inside a gas. What happens? The gas starts getting turbulent.
Yeah.
And the more the gas that is near the surface of that ball will have more massive maximum movement and effect. Very simple physics. And the gas that is away from the surface of the ball will be steady. What we see on Earth, exact opposite. The air around Earth is normally very steady. As we go up, is always wind. If you go on the top, later atmosphere, high upper up, you see this Coriolis effect. You see the movement of air because they're moving, they're rotating around Earth. That's why on the top is always wind and movement, but on the surface is. If it was 1,000 kilometers per hour rotating, you will have a linear speed of unimaginable, the biggest tsunami ever. You see a small earthquake, what happens? The tsunamis that we get. And imagine if it was rotating, the water is liquid, it wouldn't stay steady. The water in the ocean will move constantly. If Earth is rotating, the water in the ocean will never be steady. And the other thing, that the life would never happen because of this kinetic energy that is there, the forces in there. Even it's very, very simple. You can see that even from the surface of Earth at sea level compared to the top of the mountain, you will have different movement, different momentum because different distance from the center of Earth. Then you will have absolutely different effects. And there are many evidences. Look, if Earth is rotating counterclockwise, then if an airplane flies from, let's say, east of America to the west, what would that be?
Yeah, from New York to Los Angeles, for instance.
New York to Los Angeles going, or Los Angeles to New York, should take a fourth of that time and take a fourth of that fuel. If they take the air resistance out of it, because Earth is rotating, they say Earth is rotating from west to east. So if an airplane is going from east to west, it only needs to stand on the sky and the Los Angeles will come. The destination will come to you. New York is on the east coast, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah.
Imagine the plane takes off over New York and just stay there in the sky. It doesn't need to go forward. 1,000 miles per hour, very, very fast. Los Angeles is coming in, much faster. And if it moves, any speed of it, the airplane towards Los Angeles adds to the spin of Earth. Depends the location on Earth will be different speed, but that's what I'm saying. Ask any pilot, it tells you going from east to west or west to east, the fuel is the same and the time of traveling is the same. Apart from the air and wind effect and things like that. Should be massive difference, at least 4 times less fuel and time. And that's the other thing, when you're landing, if Earth is rotating, when you are in air and landing, like imagine with the parachute, you're jumping from an airplane, using a parachute, landing on Earth, or landing in an airplane. When airplane is landing on the airport, they don't have any problem. They just look at their position and their speed, and they land. But we said any other thing in universe is rotating. Remember, we said Earth is the only one that doesn't rotate. All others. So if you go to Mars, rotating and spinning, and moon. On all other ones, they rotate and spin. So you look at the video on YouTube about the rover landing on Mars, the video from NASA a few years ago. It's very, very interesting. Listen to that. It's still there. And there is a person talking from NASA on the ground base to talking to another person that they're controlling the rover to land on the Mars. And what you hear is this. They're saying, one of them is saying the ground velocity is, for example, 20.4. And the rover velocity is 10, 12 something. Okay. They keep saying ground velocity and the spaceship velocity, ground velocity. And you see on the video, the ground is moving away. So when they're landing, they have to look at the ground under their feet is going forward. So they're talking ground velocity. When airplanes lands on the airport, they don't look at ground velocity. Ground is steady. Earth is not moving.
But doesn't ground velocity refers to from an observer, which is standing on the ground and looking at the object in the air? That's the speed that they measure.
Yeah, this is the rover. The rover is looking. The rover is about to land on Mars.
I see. Okay.
And it's looking at Mars and see the Mars is moving, and it says ground velocity. When a pilot is in airplane landing on Earth, it doesn't worry about ground velocity. That's what we're talking about. Earth is not moving. It's very simple. We all know that. You will have vertigo. Your blood pressure will be all over the place. It's just steady. If people from 1,000 years ago come to us and we tell them it's round and rotating 1,000 miles per hour, they will think we are all really crazy and taking some drugs. And people.
So how does the science today explains that?
You ask people.
The example of from East Coast to West Coast airplane
is really, really rubbish. Really rubbish. Really, absolutely. And you don't hear this. Absolutely. Well, we go through all the mathematics in the book, but this is a general idea. It's very, very clear. Very clear. There's so many evidence. And at the end, they always come to the picture. They say, we have seen it is round and rotating. How can you explain that? That's the explanation. Earth is a steady, stationary universe, not just sun. That's the problem people make. The entire universe rotating around Earth. That's why once you are out of Earth around 1,000 kilometers, you start rotating with the entire universe. So you are stationary compared and relative to all other objects around you in the sky. That's why you don't realize that you are moving and Earth is steady.
So what you are suggesting is more than just the idea that Earth is flat. What you are proposing is Earth is flat and it's not a disk, it's a square. There is a dome over the universe, and it's the light and distraction and distortion of that causes us, when we look at Earth, we see it as a sphere. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, you also propose that Earth is the center of the universe, and you had several, convincing facts from the scientific community, from the observations and empirical experiences that science has, that Earth is the center of the universe, and Earth is not rotating, but everything else in the universe is rotating around the Earth. So this is a recap of what we discussed. Now I have a challenge for you.
Very, very unique place we are in. Very, very precious.
Must of course. So now, and I remember this, probably you remember it too. In Islam, I think it's from Quran, that says God made mountains to be like nails that hold the earth consistent and fixed in its place. You remember that?
Yeah.
It says that. So I don't know what's the position of Muslims and rotating of Earth, but
in all the ancient history, mythology, and the books, Earth is flat not a sphere. It's flat and it's not rotating. But today you see all these religious leaders, they're trying to justify the words of the Old Testament or the Quran, and they're trying to say, no, 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 it doesn't say Earth is not rotating. They're scared because they don't have answers for scientific community. These people are exact people that the businessman wants. All these clergy that we have today, they're horrible. They know nothing about the science or religion. None of them.
So now I have a challenge for you. I have a challenge for you.
Yeah.
What if someone that is listening, a scientist, which is basically my question is, would you be open to a debate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of
Just
course.
because I know this is controversial, there are going to be people that they say, no. So let's make that official. If anybody's listening to this and you believe that the reasoning that Kof presented here is wrong in any form or shape scientifically, because his claim is that these are all scientifically, and he can prove it with mathematics. He actually uses the same tools that scientific community and scientists use. Then I'll be happy to host that debate here.
Okay, thank you. And then if they, as we said, this is just a very simple and brief talk, but the best way for someone to know what we're talking about would be to, they can ask you apparently, and you will send them a copy of the book.
Sure.
It's 500 pages.
Sure,
It goes from
definitely.
beginning to end of all the physics of the universe. So that's why we said everything is basically one-dimensional. You need to understand the
you establish that first, of course.
Yeah, and then you realize the whole thing. Yes, absolutely. Why not? If we can have a chat with each other, why not?
Absolutely. That's how science advances, right? Debates and conversations and being open to new ideas. Of course, these are all in words. We don't see that in action. This was a fascinating conversation, and as the saying goes, a pregnant conversation with a lot of questions that I'm sure are in the minds of listeners, and ramifications of what you said. Flat Earth is one thing, because if the Earth is flat, where is the moon? How did we go to the moon? What happens to the hollow Earth? You know, there's a lot of other things that you could explain and talk about it. But it was great to have this conversation, and I think this is probably the first one that there is a conversation about flat Earth in a scientific manner, not just grab your binoculars, look at the horizon. What do you see? You see all the way to the end, the Earth is flat. So this has been one of the reasonings. A lot of people, they say, oh, the Earth is flat. But the fact that there are millions of people that believe in flat Earth and searching for truth, I think they will find your proposition very enticing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. All the best.
Okay. Thank you very much again, Kof, and thank you all for listening. Until next time, bye-bye.